Hey, it's been a while. Zakaria here, Spiritual Arc. It's been a long time. I took a little break, as you know. Didn't even know what I was going to talk about today. Don't even know what I'm talking about today. I really just prayed and meditated on it for a little while. Just for those who don't remember Spiritual Arc from the videos I did before, from my writings, for everything. I explained that, God put on my spirit and my soul that time for change will come where we're going to be moving into a new vibration, frequency, elevation level, um, where change is going to come. I spoke to people and said it's kind of like a Noah's Ark situation. We're going to try to prepare for the flood. And God just put in my spirit that there comes a time where, we have to prepare for the mental and physical and emotional and spiritual changes that this earth is transitioning to. And I believe that time is now. Um, diving in, that's what Spiritual Arc's about. I said change is going to come, time is going to come. I think that time is here. I spoon fed some of the videos, and I don't want to say tippy toe, but I dealt with topics that made sense, that was real to the day to day. We talked about mental health, we talked about forgiveness, we talked about, having attachments and the matrix and so many different things. Again, today I'm just freestyling, don't have no real topic at hand. I just prayed that, the words would resonate out of my mouth and resonate to the hearts and spirits. And even if I reach one person, then that's what it is. But with that being said, I just think there's since I've been away for a while, been reflecting and dealing with some things in my life, my personal life. I just really come to the realization that, you know, we got to get a little bit deeper. I know sometimes I say stuff so fast, I tell you I'm not going to re-edit anything, but we got to dig a little deeper in our lives and really start to reflect on prioritizing the things that's important. I know many of us just get up and go. We always want to go, the rat race, the 9 to 5s, taking care of our children, taking care of our responsibilities and doing the things we do. And as we all say, the old slogan, life be lifing. And that is actually correct. Life do be lifing. But, for myself, I just really took the time to say, like, digging deeper again, like, what is this all about? What is Spiritual Arc all about? It's about formulating that relationship with God. No offense to no one. I'm not trying to push any religion, or I'm not trying to disregard anyone's religion or belief or, dogmas or practices. But I believe, and again, some of the stuff I say, traditional churches or mosques or whatever would probably be like, this guy's crazy, he's a nut, but I'm going to speak what God puts on my spirit. I believe it's about a lifestyle. It's about the lifestyle that we live and what we choose to navigate and drive us through life. There is a God that governs over everything. Um, there are principles and certain lifestyles and ideologies and concepts that we try to follow, to believe, to live, the best life that we can. And I think that now it comes a time that we tap into that source. I have relationships with many people when we talk about things and spirituality and many of us are parents and all of us are children of earthly parents. And as a parent or as a child of an earthly parent, we understand the relationship between parent and child. The child, whether our children or us being a child, there is a level of comfortability, a level of security, and knowing as a child first, I would say, that, when we get up and go about our business when we were children again, there was a comfortability to know that, your provisions would be provided for. No child woke up, well, at least the average child. And of course, trauma, we can talk about that in other times about the children who do have to wake up with the unfortunateness of the opposite of what I'm about to say. But the average child doesn't wake up and worry about, what they're going to eat, you know, I'm saying average again, if they're going to have a roof over their head, are they going to be clothed, have clothing to wear, the provisions to take care of them. Most children don't worry about that, As parents, our children, that we parent, that we father, that we mother, we try to ensure a stabilized household where they don't worry about these things. We have a expectation that our children get up, go to school, depending on the level of grade level they're in or the age they're at, we expect them to, be able to participate and do the things that's expected for that individual being at that age level, that maturity level, or that intellectual level, in reference to going to school, keeping their house clean, helping around, doing chores, helping us out with getting things done, maybe looking out for the other, their siblings, things of that nature. That's the expectation, and to do the best they can in fulfilling that expectation, as a responsibility, duty, as just out of love. We ensure that all other provisions are provided for them. All other provisions are provided for them, at no expense. We try to ensure that they have food, that they have shelter, that they have clothing, and most of the time, especially if that individual is doing things above and beyond, maybe doing some extra chores, maybe looking out for their little one a little bit extra, maybe making a meal for the whole family when they're not asked, then we'll even do extra stuff to show our gratitude and appreciation for the things that they're doing. But at no point, again, does any parent deliberately, with a sane mind, and I no disrespect for anyone that has mental health or any other issues, but no parent of a sane mind that is rational and functional has any anticipation or any desire to bring anything negative to their child. And again, as if we're not a parent, as a child, no child believes that their parent, again, of sound mind and, soberness, has any type of negative, it's 8 minutes, I'm not gonna go long, any type of negative intentions to bring in negativity to their life. So what am I saying all this about? As I said, like, this is the first video back. I just feel like at this point now, for most of us, like I said, again, we're talking about God, I'm not getting into the in particular religions right now, but I'm talking about God, your source, your power, the overseer, that runs and regulates your life, that guides us and, elevates us to living in peace and harmony and love and clarity. That God that we serve, how much trust and belief and faith are we putting into that God? For myself, again, I speak in full transparency. Throughout the years, I suffered with ups and downs and roller coasters, and because life is life. And one thing that is guaranteed and promises is that in this world we will have trouble. That's a guarantee. I don't care what religion you fall under, we will have trouble in this world because unfortunately we live in a broken world. That's the fact. So in this world we will have trouble, but how will we deal with these things? Are we really like the children that we bring up, the children that we was? Do we rely on our Father, our Creator, and give the same expectations that we expect our children to feel with us? Like, how would we feel as a parent If your child comes to you nervously and asking you, am I going to eat today? Am I going to have clothes today? Am I going to have a roof over my head today? You know, are we going to be okay? Are we like, how would you feel? Especially if you're providing and you have been providing all these things from birth into the present moment. Would that bring you pain and suffering and confusion? You know, if you was a child, what level as a child, because we all were children, what level of thinking of fear of something had to happen that would produce us, because most of us didn't, to have to ask or worry with our parents, our biological earthly parents, am I going to eat? Am I going to have a place to sleep tonight? Am I going to have shelter? And again, like I said, I'm not negating the fact that there are some children out there in this world that does have to suffer those things, and that's not okay. But I'm talking holistically, and I'm not negating that at all. However, like how would that make us feel? Like, what kind of parent would that be that we have to ask those type of questions? So the question that I propose to you, and I went into 11 minutes, I'm gonna go real fast, is are we giving God that we follow, that we believe, the honor, the what's the word I'm looking for? It's the honor, and see, I told you, non-filtered, the due diligence, or just the insurance. I don't know if it's insurance, just the honor, and it's not even respect. The comfortability, the trust, the faith, the belief that if we as earthly parents ensure that we provide for our children beyond a shadow of a doubt, how much more greater is the God that governs over everything, that will ensure that we have everything that we need and all provisions provided for us. So as my introduction back, short version, this wasn't a short version because I'm in 12 minutes, you know, moving forward, I want to really look into what is the relationship that we have with God? Where's our faith? Where's our belief? Take the time, I know I went the long version around this way, take the time to really just assess, like, where do we stand with our faith? Do we truly believe and trust that the God that we serve will provide all provisions for us if we just make sure that we're following His will for our life and doing the things that we need to do to ensure that we are definitely aligned with our mission and our purpose on this planet? Because as we ensure that we will provide all provision for our children, and those of us who aren't parents but are children, as you believe that your parents will provide all provisions for you and you don't wake up worrying and stressed out and sweating and worrying about it, why do we spend so much time, you, me, all of us, worrying about the provisions that God's going to put on this earth? Maybe it's time that we start reevaluating things, start focusing our prayer on actually asking God to align us with His purpose and His will, and then realize and truly accept the fact that once we do that and we focus our eyes, our hearts, our energies on that mission and that mission alone, everything else will fall into place. We don't need to stress ourselves out. We don't need to worry. We don't need to lose sleep at night. We don't need to stress out and have doubt and have headaches and have ulcers and all these worries, because our God will provide. So again, this is the time, spiritual arc, it's time for wake up, it's time for elevation. So if we just take this time and just, realize and remember, our time has come for us to now elevate and really focus on who's the God we serve, and do we really trust, and do we have the faith that we say we have? So let's change our thinking, let's change our mindset, let's elevate, let's get away with the fear. Sorry this was long. I know it wasn't supposed to be, so whoever it resonates to, let it be. You know, and that's what it is, because I have to say what's on my heart and soul. I love you guys. Blessings until next time. Peace and blessings. Sicaria, Spiritual Arc. Have a blessed day.